Hare Krishna. Well, here we are for our Sunday Bhagavatam class, and we're going to begin where we left off in the first canto of the Bhagavatam. This is the Srimad-Bhagavatam, first canto, chapter 1, text 12. So first the invocation. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So, again, beginning with Srimad-Bhagavatam, first canto, first chapter, verse number 12, and this, of course, as presented by Srila Prabhupada. So, 1.1.12 is Sutta Janasi Bhadram Te Bhagavan Sattvatam Patihi Devakyam Vasudevasya Jato Jasya Chikirshya, which means, Sutta, you know. The word jnanam means knowledge. And here's the verb sutta, O Sutta, addressing him. Janasi, you know. And bhadram te, which in Sanskrit means something like bless you. Bhadram means the good, the auspicious, and te, unto you. So bless you, Sutta, you know. Bhagavan, the Lord, Sattvatam Patihi, the Lord of the Yadus, the Sattvatas, or the Lord of the devotees. So the Lord, who is the master of the devotees, Devakyam, and this is in Sanskrit when genealogy is being described, that so-and-so is the son or daughter of this mother and that father. Grammatically, it's always said that the Lord Jata was born Devakyam, within Devaki, in other words, from Devaki's womb, Vasudevasya, and of Vasudev. So anyway, so grammatically, that's the typical way it's said, born in this mother of that father. So you know, Jasya Chikirshya. Chikirshya means intention, literally with a desire to do something. So in Sanskrit, there are different words that mean an action, like kara, and so on, karanam. And so here, chikirsha in Sanskrit means the desire or the intention to do something. And so the sages are saying that you bless you because you know why the Lord took birth, the Lord of the devotees, the master of the devotees, why he took birth from Devaki and Vasudeva, what he wanted to do, what his intention was, and bless you because you know that. So this is what the sages want to hear. Why did Krishna come to this world? And remember, in those days, you couldn't just pick up your BBT Bhagavad Gita and find out why Krishna came. This is in the aftermath of Krishna's appearance, and everyone is still trying to understand what actually happened. They know that the Lord, that God came to this world, and that there were great battles, that millions of demons were killed, and some devotees were also slain. And so there was all this these political events and wars, and amazing stories were going around everywhere by word of mouth about, just like we would tell Prabhupada stories. So there were Krishna stories. Or there was, there's all the Prabhupada said this, and Prabhupada said that, and then what did Prabhupada really say? Which is, by the way, a process that goes on after every great teacher comes. What did he really say? This happened after Jesus, it happened after Muhammad, it happened after Prabhupada, and it happened after Krishna. So we are looking into this historical period right after Krishna left this world, in which just like in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, where at one point Krishnadas Kaviraj says that there are different opinions about what Lord Chaitanya really taught, or there are different opinions about who Lord Chaitanya really is. And so one of the important purposes of Krishnadas Kaviraj in composing the Chaitanya Charitamrita is to sort all this out and say, look, this is who Lord Chaitanya is, and some people think he was that, but he's not. Some people accept Lord Chaitanya, but they don't accept Nityananda. Some people accept Nityananda, but not Chaitanya. So Krishnadas Kaviraj is very clearly and explicitly cleaning up what is sort of a confusion or a bit of a mess for some people. Obviously, the great devotees knew all these things, but for a lot of people, perhaps for most people, it was still very confusing what actually happened and who actually came to this world and walked among us, and which one was actually God. Was it Advaita? Was it Nityananda? Was it Mahaprabhu? There are different opinions. So just as Krishnadas Kaviraj is clearing all that up, so here we have a directly analogous situation that in the near aftermath, just after Lord Krishna left this world, it hasn't been that much time, and people, they don't have radios, and they don't have telephones and digital media, and they don't text each other, and there are no tape recordings, digital recordings, there's no videos, they can't go to YouTube, and well, this is what Krishna really said. So in that ancient world where all communication is going on by word of mouth, as I've said many times, if you look at the Bhagavatam, you will not find a single verse in the Bhagavatam where anyone writes anything. You write something down, it doesn't exist in the Bhagavatam. It doesn't exist in the Mahabharata. The story of Ganesh writing down what Vyas dictated is actually not found in almost all the Mahabharata editions. So in this very brilliant society, but basically an oral society, people speak to each other, and so the sages want to clear everything up for our sake, for posterity, for future generations. Who was Krishna really? What did he really do? Why did he come to this world? So these are the types of questions they're asking in the beginning of the Bhagavatam to clear everything up. Sutta, Janasi, Sutta, you actually know these things. Bhadram Te, bless you. Bhagavan Sattvatang Pati, the Lord, the master of the devotees, why he took birth from Devaki and Vasudeva. What did he want to do? What was his purpose? What was his intention? Why did he come to our planet? So that's their question. The next verse is Tannakshu Shushamananam Arhasyanganu Varnitam Yas Yavataro Bhutanam Kshemaya Cha Bhavaya Cha. So just as in a previous few verses back, they said Guravo Guhyam Apijuta, that teachers, gurus, it is proper, they should explain advanced knowledge to devoted disciples. And now they're saying, of course they're referring to themselves. Now they're saying again that we want to hear this. In other words, they keep telling Sutta that you have to tell us this. We are appropriate listeners. We are serious about this. We are devoted to the subject matter. We really want to hear this, please. So again and again, they are telling him, that's what we want to hear about. We don't want to hear about other things. Tannakshu Shushamana. So just as we had the word, the desiderative noun, Chakirsiya, with what did Krishna want to do when he came here? They use now another form like that and say, we want to hear. Shruti is hearing. This is Shushu Shamananam. All of us really want to hear this. And therefore it is proper, it is fitting, it is the right thing that you, dear Sutta, tell this to us. And anuvarnitum, they say. Varna, of course, as you know, it can mean the vocational orders in society. Varna also means color, as in, for example, Krishna Varnam Tvasha Krishnam Sangopangastra Parshadam Yagyaya Sankirtana Prayar Yujanti Sumedasa, the verse in the Bhagavatam that describes Lord Chaitanya's coming, that Krishna Varnam Tvasha Krishnam. There the word Varna means color. So just as it means color, so the verb varnitum, the infinitive, that's the infinitive, the verb can mean to describe things colorfully, to like fill in all the shades of something. So varna can also mean describing. And so anu is to follow, anu is to follow. So anu varnitum means they want the authoritative description. Anu varnitum means to describe following, in this case, the previous authorities. It can also mean to describe things in a logical order. Anu varnitum, they want a clear description in a logical order. So, but it's a common verb, anu varnitum. So we want to hear, Sutta, and it's the right thing that you explain all this to us. Jasyavataro bhutanang chimaya cha bhavaya cha. Because Krishna's descent, Krishna's avatara was for the well-being, for the prospering of all living beings. So how are they going to prosper? How are they going to achieve that well-being unless you explain to us? So these are very interesting verses they're speaking. Obviously, the speakers themselves, the audience, headed by Shonaka, who's brilliant, by the way. If you look in the Bhagavatam at the verses spoke by Shonaka himself, who's probably speaking here on behalf of the sages, he himself is a brilliant speaker. So then they say that now the sages will explain why it's so urgent to explain these things. Apanak sangsriting ghorang yanama vivashogranan tatak sadyo vimucheta jad viveti swayam ayam. Which means that a person who is sort of trapped or suffering in sangsriting ghorang. Sangsriti is just another way of saying samsara, material existence, the cycle of birth and death. Sangsriti is just, it's the same word, just formed a different way. And ghorang means horrible, awful, frightening. So trapped or suffering in this terrible cycle of birth and death. And of course, you only know how terrible it really is if you have a vision of liberated life. Then you understand how really terrible this world is. Comparison shopping. Janama bibashogranan, one who chanting or taking the Lord's name, viva sha, which means sort of like involuntarily, like of course the example is a Jamila crying out. From that, tataha, sadyo, at once, vimucheta, one may be or can be freed. It doesn't say in all cases, but in certain cases, one example, of course, Jamila had been a devotee. He'd been a very serious devotee and really dedicated to Krishna. Then he fell down. We used to say blooped. He fell down. He became very degraded. But then, crying out his son's name, Narayan, he was brought back to his consciousness. So that's what Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, that neha vikramanashosti, there's no loss or diminution in this process. So it's possible that one can be liberated. Tataksadyo vimucheta. Vimuchete in Sanskrit would simply mean one is liberated. Vimucheta means one can be liberated. So because jadi bheti swayam bhayam, because fear himself, or fear personified, fears the Lord. In other words, for example, you may have a protector, but then what if someone else comes who has a bigger gun than your protector? What if someone comes who's stronger than your protector? So therefore it said here that fear personified fears the Lord. So if Krishna offers you protection, no one can threaten you or harm you. But still, the holy name is very powerful. It's very, very powerful. And one may at first vivasha, vasha means control. So vivasha means without control. In other words, you do something beyond your control. I mean, another example of that is in Vrindavan, when demons attacked Vrindavan and the residents there were pure devotees of Krishna, just cried out his name. It wasn't like a plan. Okay, they met and let's chant Hare Krishna here. They just cried out, Krishna, Krishna. So, and then people, ordinary people that call out the name Krishna because the name Krishna is attractive, if they have sufficient background and they become attracted to that name, then they will be liberated. So the next verse is, Jatpada Samshaya Sutta Muniya Prashamayana Sadyak Punantyupasprashta Swardhunyapo Anusevaya. So the sages here give another example of how people can become Krishna conscious if they're just given the right situation. So here Sutta says, Yatpada Samshaya Sutta. O Sutta, those who have fully taken shelter of the Lord's feet. Yatpada, whose feet? The Lord's feet. Samshaya means really taken shelter, seriously taken shelter. O Sutta. Muniyat, those sages, Prashamayanaha, who are themselves on the path of complete peace and tranquility. Prashamayanaha. Or the path of devotion, because it's the same path. Sadyak, again they use the word sadya, which means at once, immediately. Punanti upasprishta, they at once purify, upasprishta, literally when they are contacted. Sprish in Sanskrit means touch, and sprishta means touched or contacted, and upasprishta, upa means near. And so upasprishta, when people come into close contact with them, in other words, doesn't mean you bump into them on a subway in Manhattan or something, that kind of touch. It means people really come into close contact with them. The example, of course, is young Narada Muni, when those great sages came and Narada heard from them. So if someone really comes into close contact with those sages who have completely taken shelter of the Lord's feet, then those sages purify, punanti. They purify at once, whereas swardhunyapo, the water of the Ganges is also called swardhuni, it travels through heaven. So apo's water. So the Ganges water purifies anusevaya. Seva means service. And so the word seva can also mean serving someone in the sense of associating with them or taking advantage of them. Not exploiting them, but I mean taking advantage of their association, seva. And here again, anu, following. So anu seva means following in the sense of repeatedly, like one service after the other, or one association after the other, continuously. So the contrast here is that bathing in the Ganges, one has to do it repeatedly, seriously, to be purified, whereas the great sages purify at once. Sadyat punanti. Of course, that also depends on one properly associated, because as we know, many, many people even came to speak to Prabhupada or hear his lectures and did not immediately become purified and develop devotional symptoms. So again, these things are possible for a very fortunate person who does the right thing. But they're saying how powerful sages are, even more powerful than bathing in the Ganges. And now, it's interesting because at this point, if you look at the Sanskrit closely, you can see how the sages are becoming ecstatic, because this is Krishna Katha. They're glorifying Krishna, they're glorifying Krishna's devotees, glorifying the holy name of Krishna, and now they're asking this rhetorical question, Kova, who indeed, Kova, Bhagavas tasya punya shlokeja karma nakshudhi kamo nasinujat jasakali malapaham. So who wants purification? It's like, for example, let's say someone is physically sick and they're suffering from some disease. And so it's like saying, who would not want to get better? Who would not want to find a remedy to be free of their disease? It's a rhetorical question. Obviously, anyone who has any common sense, anyone who's intelligent, wants to be free of their suffering. And that's the question the sages are asking. Kova, who indeed that is shuddhi kamo, that desires to be purified, to be relieved of all their disease of material existence, would not listen to the glories, jasha, just like Krishna's mother, Jashoda means the one who gives fame. But anyway, jasha means fame or glory. Who indeed would not listen to the glories of Bhagavatas, of the Lord whose actions are punya shlokadya, whose actions are worshipable with holy verses. Punya means pure, also means holy. So punya shloka means holy verses. And idya means worshipped or worshipable. Karmana, the Lord whose actions are worshipable in holy verses. In other words, the Vaishnava Shastras. And those glories, Kali Malapaham, literally drive away or destroy the contamination of Kali. So Mala means contamination, like the Bhagavatam is called Amala Purana, the spotless, or the Purana free of contamination. So Mala means dirt, contamination, infection. And so we have this disease of Kali, and we're suffering from this Kali disease. And yet the glories of the Lord, whose actions are worshipable in holy verses, those glories destroy the contamination of Kali. All of our problems, I mean, why do we suffer? Because we have material bodies, because we still want to enjoy our bodies, we still identify with our bodies due to lust and greed and all these wonderful qualities. And so the suffering is not, we're not suffering, the suffering is in the material body and mind. And because we identify with them, we are embracing misery. We are embracing misery by embracing a miserable material machine. And if we identify with our true soul and identify with Krishna, of whom we are part, then even though the body is troublesome, it doesn't bother us, and we use the body as a valuable instrument to make spiritual progress. So the body is miserable only if you identify with it, not if you use it properly. For example, fire is very useful to heat your house, to cook, but if you embrace the fire, you will have a very miserable death. So the same thing, there are many things. A knife is useful to cut food, to perform life-saving surgery, to do construction work. I mean, many positive, important things can be done with a knife, but if you embrace the knife in the wrong way, you kill yourself or you mutilate yourself. So it's not a question of hating the body. What we're speaking against is not the body, but trying to exploit the body, becoming attached to the body in an inappropriate way. So therefore, again, the rhetorical question here, kova, who indeed, kova, shuddhikamo, that wants to be purified of all this suffering, would not listen to the glories of the Lord, whose actions are worshipable in holy verses, the Lord whose glories destroy all the contamination of Kali. Great verse, as you can see. Maybe we'll do one more here. Tasya karman yudarani parigitani surivi bruhi nakshadadhananam lilaya dadatak kala. So, just 1 second here. I just wanted to, in the Sanskrit dictionary, one verse. I wanted to give you some of the translations of this verse. So the verse says, Tasya karmani, his activities. Because that's what the sages, they want to hear about Krishna. Because again, Krishna just came to this world and he left not so long ago. And again, it's not that, all Krishna Leelas on YouTube. It's not that, his people were filming. It's not that this is all word of mouth. And so the sages are gathering together here all of the bona fide pastimes of Krishna. So they say, Tasya karmani, his actions, udarani, are udara. So what does udara mean? They're saying Krishna's actions are udara. So udara can mean in Sanskrit the great. They're the greatest. They're the best. They are noble, illustrious, generous, because Krishna did these things to help us. Upright, honest, liberal, in the old sense of the term, meaning generous, gentle, munificent, sincere, proper, right, correct. So exciting, active, energetic. That's all the word udara. So they're saying Krishna's actions have all these qualities: great, best, noble, illustrious, generous, upright, honest, liberal, gentle, munificent, sincere, proper, correct. So great actions by Krishna. So Tasya, his. Tasya karmani udarani, his actions are udara, which I've just translated. And parigitani surivi, and they are sung. They're chanted, they're sung by saintly people, by good, pious people. Parigitani, Gita means sung, as you know, and Gita means song. And so party means around, all around. We have that in English still, peri, same word, party, as in perimeter, for example, perimeter, Sanskrit, perimeter in Sanskrit is just parimatra, perimeter, the perimeter. In other words, the measurement around something, or periscope. So pari means around. So it's used in Sanskrit as a prefix to mean thorough or in depth. In other words, you go all around. It's complete. It's thorough. It's all points all around. So here, Pari Gita, not simply Gita sung, but Pari Gita can mean that Krishna's pastimes are sung or recited everywhere, or it can mean completely. People want to hear all about Krishna. In English, we would say all about something. So they recite all about Krishna. So Tasya Karmani Udarani, his pastimes are great, as we described. And Parigitani, they are people and wise people, the learned, the sages, recite them, all about them. And so therefore, Bruhina, tell us, Shraddha, because we are putting our hearts in this. The word Shraddha, often translated faith, as I've explained many times, literally means to really put your heart into something, really put your trust into something. Here we have the verb. The verb, anyway, I won't go into all the technical grammar, present participle in the genitive case plural. So Shraddha means that we are really putting our faith in this. We're putting our hearts into this. So tell us, Leelaya Dadata Kalaha. Tell us about the Lord who assumed so many incarnations and so many forms as his own pastime, Leelaya, by his own free will, as his own pastime, the Lord who assumed many forms, tell us. So they want to hear all about Krishna because, of course, Krishna just came to this world, did things, but Krishna has come to this world at other times. He's gone to other worlds. We want to hear all about Krishna. We want to really understand him, his pastimes, the worlds he goes to. And the sages, again, it's sort of like a polite suggestion to Sutta, because Sutta, they've already said, you are a very wise person, very learned, and wise people recite all about these things. So therefore, this is absolutely appropriate that you tell us. Our heart is in it. We really want to hear this. And so therefore, please tell us. So I think I'll stop here for now. We did several verses here. And let me just see if there were very quickly, if there are any questions here on Facebook. Let's see, maybe not. Thank you all, by the way, for listening. It would kind of be a little discouraging if I did this and no one showed up. But so thank you all for showing up. And hopefully we'll see you again next Sunday. Hare Krishna.